Hi, it's time again for the Mark Taylor Show. I'm Mark Taylor, and this week's guest is Paula Clinch. Welcome to the show, Paula.
Thank you, Mark.
Paula is a cancer survivor. How long ago has it been since you were first diagnosed? I guess we'll start there. And
almost 5 years.
Oh, 5 years.
October 1st, 2011.
Holy smokes, okay.
Yep.
Had you had any prior health complications or anything before that?
Not a thing.
Not an inkling.
No,
Other family members, like your mom, dad, or siblings or anything like that?
No cancer in my immediate family. Cancer in distant relatives and some cousins and stuff like that, but nothing that would have made me think that I was next for sure.
Oh, okay. It's a disease that affects so many of us. I mean, if you don't have it yourself, you know somebody that does, or somebody
Absolutely.
that's close or lost a loved one. It's a devastating disease.
It is, yeah.
I guess we'll go back 5 years. We rewind a little bit, and where did you start to think that maybe there's something was up?
The end of the summer of 2011, I just noticed a couple subtle changes and thought that probably it needed some investigation. Prior to that, I'd had clean checkups and bill of health with the old doctor thumbs up, and really wasn't expecting at all what the final outcome would be. And so I called the doctor and had to wait a few weeks for an appointment, and that's when they said I immediately needed a biopsy.
Okay.
And then waited for the diagnosis, or the prognosis, I guess, or you know, from that.
Did
and
you
that took about
do a
2
bunch
weeks.
of Google searches and everything? I'm sure everything was going through your head going, I got to see if maybe I can figure this out on my own before you go see the doctor. Because that can scare the daylights out of you as well.
Yeah, from the time that I called and said, I think I need to come and see you to the doctor, I didn't really do a panic. I sort of thought there's probably a logical reason for this, and I'll wait and see what the doctor says. And once I saw my doctor, she probably put the panic into me, and the speed of which things happened after that sort of led me to believe that, oh, this is quite serious.
Yeah, because you know as well as I do, a normal ailment, we'll call it, or whatever, for lack of a better term, you can wait quite a while to get to see a doctor, a specialist or something like that, and when it gets fast-tracked.
Yes, and it was definitely, they called me for a follow-up appointment before I had left the regional that day. I made it as far as the lobby, and my cell phone was ringing, and she said, I think it was a Wednesday, and she said, you're booked Friday to see the surgeon. Yeah.
Holy smokes.
Yeah, so and that's when I was referred to the St. Joseph's Women's Health Center, and that's where they do mammography and biopsies right on site, and so it went very quickly after that. Okay,
so did they review what could happen? I guess they do that before any surgery. They're going to tell you this is what could happen, this is what we're going to try, or I mean, all kinds of options?
They don't. There's a long waiting period, or it feels very long when you're in that moment. From the time that they take you in and do a biopsy. Of course, the staff there, I've become very good at watching their faces, because the staff there are not able to tell you anything. But they know. You know, cancer acts a certain way and is shown a certain way, whether it's on the ultrasound, whether it's on during the biopsy and different things like that. So I kind of knew, I guess just your gut instinct, women's intuition, I don't know. I kind of knew at that point, and long before my results were given to me, the pathology report was given to me, I knew when I left the hospital that day. I remember saying, yeah, I know that they're going to tell me that's breast cancer.
You were prepared for the worst.
Absolutely.
No question.
No, because they put you in a room, I call it the blue gown room, and all the other women are sitting there, and as you're cleared to leave, they come in and just give you a thumbs up. And one by one, the women get dressed and they leave because their results have been reviewed and they're allowed to leave. And out of about 10 women in the room that day, I didn't get to leave. So everyone else got the thumbs up and got dressed, and I was told no, I would have to stay for further testing. So you just start putting the pieces together and start realizing this is probably not going to go well.
No, and when you, because I lost my father to it like over 30 years ago now, but there's all these things that happen in your life that you never forget.
Oh,
and you'll never forget, I'm sure, that moment they said, Paula, you have cancer. I mean, that's
yeah, it sticks with you.
Was it abrupt like that, or did they try to soften it? Or?
I was very fortunate because I knew the family doctor who was able to give me my results. My family doctor had left Charlotte County just before I was diagnosed, so I was in limbo and didn't have a family doctor. So I felt a little
on an island.
Yeah, like here I go. You know, who's going to watch my back? So I was able to contact a doctor that I did know and ask him if he would check and get my results. So it was actually October 1st. It was Walk 'Cause We Care Day in St. George, rainy, and I went and saw that doctor on a Saturday morning at 10 a.m. in Blacks Harbor.
Okay.
And he sat me down and said, it is invasive breast cancer, and you're going to have a long road ahead of you. And at that point, it was basically just the diagnosis confirmed. It really wasn't telling me anything I didn't already
you were
suspect.
prepared for it, but still, I don't know if it ever, until you actually hear it. There's always that little snippet of a chance that you might be wrong.
I remember leaving there thinking, okay, now I know. Now I need a plan. And I drove back to St. George, and because it was Walk 'Cause We Care Day, I had missed the walk to go and get this diagnosis. And I made a promise to myself right at that moment, I'm going to kick this, and I'm going to come back, and I'm going to have my own team, and I will be there. So there was a few bumps along the way before I got there, but yeah.
Wow. So did they give you a prognosis of what your chances were? Did they tell you that this is,
They don't 50, like to
50?
do that.
Yeah.
No. Everybody sort of thinks that you go in and they lay it all out and it's like a package, and you know, you're here and you're going to live this long and you're going to do this, and it's not like that. For me, I was told or confirmed that it was breast cancer, but then you kind of get back into the system. So then it's back to the surgeon, and my surgeon was Dr. Scarth. He's now retired, and he was fantastic. It then becomes the surgeon's job to determine with the oncology team what your course of treatment will be. And they kind of figure out that it is cancer, but then they have to figure out all the rest. How aggressive is that cancer, and where has it gone in your body? So early on, they don't know anything and you don't know anything. So your mind can go a lot of different directions.
I'm sure.
But you have to kind of rein that in and say, okay, I can only deal with one thing at a time. So we'll just deal with one thing at a time.
And there's things that you can't control.
Absolutely.
That's basically not a heck of a lot you can control. I mean, you're at the mercy of everything that's going on, really.
And at that time, the only place for a breast MRI was to go to Moncton or Fredericton. And I'm from Moncton originally, so I chose Moncton just because I had family there. They could watch my kids. And so I went and had my MRI in Moncton. So everything was a waiting. You know, even though it was fast, I was told that it was breast cancer October 1st and started chemo October 27th. So it was very quick as far as what some people may experience. It was based on several factors. The cancer was very aggressive. It was inoperable. And I was only 40 at the time. So a lot of things going against me that they felt a very aggressive approach was necessary to give me the best odds at survival.
To try and knock it out.
Knock it right out of the park. And I'll never forget my first chemo that day.
Because I was going to ask you what your treatments were and what it was like. Like I've never tried it, so there's not.
I don't recommend it.
No, I'm sure. But
so you go and get in a big chair, and it's just kind of like one of those chairs that you might sit in to do blood donations and stuff like that. And it's called the suite, chemo suite. And I can remember my nurse saying, "Wow, like this is a lot of chemo." And it was many drugs. They call it kind of a cocktail. And it's based on your cancer and everything that they are hoping that they can knock it out, whether it's the grade of the cancer, the size of the cancer, all that kind of stuff. So it was heavy duty. It took about 4 hours, probably, or a little more than 4 hours.
And this is intravenous?
Constant, right? Yeah. And they parts of it start to immediately affect you. So I had to, and my kids will laugh at this probably when they see this, but I had to eat popsicles while I was taking chemo because they were trying to put enough cold in my mouth to prevent instant chemo damage almost, even though the chemo was going in through a port or a line in my arm.
Right.
And to this day, I cannot eat a popsicle. I
No
can't
way.
even stand it. I can't even open the popsicles anymore.
Is that right? Wow.
Because that's an instant flashback to, because I would finish it and be so cold and they'd go, here's another one. Until you almost just wanted to throw up popsicles.
So were you nauseated or?
Not. When you sit down to take your chemo and before you get to the hospital, there's a big series of anti-nausea medicines that they start you on.
Okay.
So from the time you sit in the chair, you're getting steroids, you're getting Gravol, well, a fancy Gravol, but you're getting some heavy duty stuff. So for me, I was always able to take my chemo and get all the way home from St. John to St. George, and usually last a couple of hours and then go to bed and lay very still for 2 to 3 days usually before I would come over. Yeah,
it just devastates you, right? I mean, did you get it make you tired or?
Very tired.
Okay.
Yeah, very tired. I lost all my hair after about 3 days of my first treatment. So
give you an idea how powerful it is. Yeah, I mean, sure.
That was a big thing. And so it was, into the wigs and into the hats and everything like that, and hard to go through with my kids watching. They were only 6 and 9 at the time. So
obviously you couldn't work or anything like that.
Had to have a game face. I couldn't work. No, I was home, and you have to protect your own body because your immune system.
I was going to say your immune system takes a
your
licking,
immune
doesn't
system
it?
becomes compromised. So I had to give myself injections after every chemo that was a strong drug to try to boost my immune system.
Okay.
The upside was it probably kept me from getting very, very ill, but the downside was it was just debilitating pain. Just
is that right?
Felt like a truck ran over you once you did that.
Wow. So how long and how often did you have these treatments? Did you go? Do you say you go to Moncton, or do you take them?
No, I took my treatment in St. John.
St. John. So you go once a week, or?
I took chemo every 3 weeks for 6 months. So I had 8 chemo treatments in St. John. So I finished March of 2012, and once my blood count was good and I had recovered enough to withstand surgery, then I had a modified radical mastectomy because the cancer had become manageable, that they could
because it would shrink it. That's the whole idea behind this.
Yeah, so they could get clean margins is what they called, and it was not an option to not do the surgery because the cancer was so aggressive.
Right.
So I end up having all the lymph nodes removed as well from under my arm, which causes lymphedema and lots of issues like that after the fact. And so got through that, and once I healed from that, which was, I guess I had the surgery in April, I started radiation in June. And so I did radiation, 25 radiation treatments in St. John.
How often was that?
Every day.
Oh, you went every day?
Every day. Yeah, you go every day, but not on the weekends. Wow. I always joked that was just to give you a chance to, I don't know.
Recover,
I guess. But you, when you're being radiated, it's essentially burning those, that skin. So you kind of need that little break. And I had a holiday in mind, actually. I think it was July 1st. So I was happy just to have that break because it's like one day that you can.
So did your hair, you lose your hair during this as well? Or is
No.
Okay.
So by that point, you kind of look like a chia pet. Your hair is sort of starting to come back a little bit. No, you don't lose your hair. I mean, you would if you were having radiation to your head or something like that. But I drove myself for a lot of my radiation treatments. You're pretty tired.
Okay.
But really, out of the whole ordeal, definitely the easiest part.
Okay.
Yeah, definitely the easiest part.
Did they give you a special diet or anything to follow during all these things that are going on in your life, or you just eat whatever?
No, I ate chocolate.
Oh, okay.
You lose all the taste, and chemo does a real number on your body. And to this day, the kids will laugh at me that I like to eat ice cream off a plastic spoon, not a metal one. I don't know if you get this really tinny taste in your mouth sometimes, and sometimes that'll come back with different things, but you could eat whatever. They just wanted you to be eating something. I mean, you do try to increase your protein and your fruits and your vegetables and all that kind of stuff, but when you're that sick and certain things are bothering you, or you can't taste anything, for me, I could still taste chocolate. So that was, whenever someone came to the house and brought gifts, there was always chocolate in that, and I could taste that. So yeah.
So have you, since all this ordeal, have you made any lifestyle changes or anything that you think back and go, man, if I would have done this? Like, if you probably did some research to find out how you ended up with it, or is it just it just happened to be you?
I really believe it was just a fluke, that it was just me. I was 40 years old and a non-smoker. I was not overweight. I always blame my oncologist. So not really any history. I mean, both my parents are fine. My grandparents are fine. My parents have siblings that had different cancers, but not breast cancers. I mean, it wouldn't have been something I would have been looking for. I did have my children later in life. You know, there's a million different theories as to the whys, but you learn very early on not to ask why, or say why me, or what could I have done differently, because you really don't have time for that pity party. You just have to get on with it. And I never went that road. No.
So how long was it before you actually felt, say, normal, for lack of any other term? What would you, like, from this October 1st till when did you?
So this October 1st will be my 5-year survivor anniversary. They class you as a survivor from the day that you were diagnosed on. Some people might say, well, it's from the day you're finished treatment or whatever, but they say from the day you're diagnosed, you're already living as a survivor at that point. I would say I only started feeling normal now. It takes a really long time. I had my first surgery to remove the cancerous breast tissue, and then in 2013, so about a year and a half later, I had the other side removed as well. As not even so much preventative as much as reconstruction was not going to be an option for me, so I just said I'd rather just have them both gone. And I had one other surgery that also occurred during that time that I was supposed to be, you know, embracing my new normal. The medications and chemo pills that I was still on after treatment were still causing havoc in my body. So there was a couple of other surgeries that went on after that. So the path of recovery isn't just the day they say, there, you're done your radiation. There's always something else that comes along. So I probably feel the closest to my new normal now. And after 5 years. I would say, yeah. Takes a long time.
I mean, not to sound morbid, but some people don't have those 5 years.
Right.
Yeah,
so, absolutely.
So that's like, some people may only have 5 months. You know, or whatever. So I'm sure you count your lucky stars every day.
You do, and that was always a big concern of mine, that I didn't want to complain a lot, because I lost friends along the way. I had women who came to me to say, how am I going to survive my mastectomy? What's it going to look like? What am I going to wear? How do I buy clothing now? Will I ever feel like a woman again? And they're not here now. So I never take it for granted that I'm here. But the truth is, it is not an easy road either way. So it's just a tough one.
Is there, did you find that when you were in it, do you know other people that were going through a similar thing, or had already gone through it at the time? Like a support group or whatever?
I formed a group, and it's called Team Fight Like a Girl. And that was part of my promise to myself, that I would get back to the Walk 'Cause We Care, and to supporting people in the same position that I was in. Not long after I was diagnosed, a very good friend of mine who I'd known for many years was diagnosed, and then another woman that we were kind of connected to.
Yeah. I think I know who these women are.
Yeah.
Right? Okay.
And then a fourth woman that I had never met before, but again lived in my town. And so the four of us, I call them my silver lining sisters, because we would have never had a reason to bond the way we bonded.
Right.
And because we were all going through it, and we could say, oh yeah, you know, your hair looks awful today.
Yeah, okay,
yeah. That is bad hair.
Without insulting anybody,
you know,
or anything like that.
Or talk about who's lopsided or who's not, or how much weight we've gained, and that's always the ongoing thing, because a lot of the drugs that you take and the steroids you take and stuff, it changes, you gain weight, or you change, your appearance changes and stuff, and you just feel, So we could always talk and joke, and we formed this bond, and they're my sisters really through this whole thing.
Wow.
And we decided we would just do everything in our power to help other people and raise money and raise awareness. We share our stories. I mean, we're not on the front lines probably as much now maybe as we could be. It takes a lot out of you, and we're still all at our own stages of recovery. Yeah. But we certainly feel that we've done our part, I think.
Yeah, and you'll find, and you say you're not from here originally, but the community support for this sort of thing is phenomenal.
We've had Pink in the Rink with the Aces 2 years in a row in St. Stephen, and they just embraced our team. There was Fight Like a Girl t-shirts everywhere. The players had pink on their hockey sticks and on their helmets and stuff for us, and just fantastic. We took our team to Relay for Life this year, and of course we're always involved in our community with Walk 'Cause We Care.
Right.
We've done different fundraisers and dinners for children with cancer, because as moms, we all could appreciate if it was this bad for us, it's got to be a living hell for
going through a lot.
Right.
So I guess you probably have done. Did you do a lot of research and stuff? Yeah, I'm sure you've probably read literature and
on my own cancer,
or just on things about, you know, just to kind of learn of what was coming at you, like YouTube and videos and stuff like that. Or
I did. The first thing they tell you is not to read a thing. They tell right at the hospital. They say, now do not go home and read anything. So of course I ran home and read everything that I could, because they told me not to. And I really think that did help me be a good patient, because you have to take your medicine. You have to take it on time. You can't try to outthink them and think, well, I won't take my anti-nausea pills today and see what happens. It's too late then.
I'll double up tomorrow.
Right. Or they said don't eat spicy food, but I'm going to try it anyway. No, don't. It's not a good idea.
No.
So I did read a lot. I read a lot about how I would feel, how it would affect my body. I read a lot, and it probably did help.
Because if you've read everything and believed everything you read on the internet, it'd drive you crazy anyway, right? You're thinking about, holy smokes, and is this what's going to happen to me now? And you know, you read other people that have gone through it, and you're thinking, oh no. I mean, it's got to be a little bit.
There's a difference between reading something that can empower you and reading something that scares you. So if it's scaring you and you're starting to really go down that road, you're not on the right website.
No.
If you're on a website that's saying, eat this, do this, go for a walk, you know, change this, that, and the other, and it's positive and it's going to help you, then by all means, I think that's great, because I think the nurses and doctors are really, really busy, and they will miss something that someone else can help you understand.
And it's good that you've got other people that have gone through it. I mean, that can say, or as you can be an advisor to people who come to you. They
called me the crash test dummy, because I was the first one in our group to start chemo and go through it. So I would joke and say, I'll do it first, guys, and I'll let you know how it goes for me.
So you've got 5 years in. What's your current health now? Is it a you got a clean bill of health, and how often do you have to go back to get
I
checked
still
up?
go every 6 months. And I kind of joke I haven't graduated yet to the longer term, and probably because of the original diagnosis being fairly aggressive, cancer and large and all that stuff. So they still keep a close eye on me. They don't watch you quite as much as people might think they watch you. You're not scanned all the time. There's not blood work all the time. They kind of go in and talk to you and see how you feel. I have all kinds of aches and pains that they just tell me are aches and pains. Just normal.
Anybody's going to have them.
Yeah, and sometimes it's left over from chemo, muscle pain and bone pain and stuff like that. But I go every 6 months, and so far so good.
So they do blood tests and things like that when you go back? Or?
Not always, no. No.
You just go back and they say, how you doing? And you say, great, and they say, see ya.
Yeah, pretty much.
Wow.
It's not quite as much as you would hope, because you kind of want to say, put me in a machine and just, you know, give me a thumbs up, but take a peek. And they don't take a peek unless there's a real, I just had an MRI, I had to have a repeat MRI, so I went and then had to wait 6 months. I had a lot of hip pain. And so I was like, you know, and they said, no, you're good. So, yeah.
So I guess, I told you this is going to be easy, and this is going by really fast. I just want to know if you had any advice to somebody that has, you know, they may be diagnosed with it, they lost a loved one, they have a loved one that's fighting it now. What would you tell them?
I would tell them to share their story.
Right.
To not sit home alone and assume that it's just them. Because what I found from talking to other women and even other couples, husbands, kids, different people that were affected by it is the emotions that you're going through are shared by so many.
Right.
And sometimes that just gives you the courage and the strength to survive what you have to survive.
Okay.
So I would say share your story. And
like you are.
Yeah, like I am. Yeah, and it's hard to do because you have to relive it in order to share it.
I was a little bit leery about asking you these things. So that's why I kind of give you the questions up front, so you knew that I wasn't going to hit you side on and something like that. So you knew what was coming at you, because I knew it's not an easy topic to talk about.
It's not. No, it's not. But if one person is out there thinking, well, I'll wait and get that exam in 6 months, or it wouldn't be me, or I'm healthy otherwise. I was a busy mom with 2 kids, working and volunteering, and just a pretty much run-of-the-mill normal mom with a big old mean cancer growing in me that I didn't know was there. So it's not to scare people, but the minute I saw the changes, I went and got help. Had I waited, because I didn't want to face it, I wouldn't be sitting here today.
No, I'd say early detection is the key with anything. Right. I mean, it's not just cancer, but I guess if there's a message there, you certainly, if you think something's up, don't
get checked. Get checked. Yeah, just call your doctor, get checked, and pay attention to your own body.
Right.
And they always stress that with women, you know, self-examinations and all that kind of stuff, but definitely pay attention to your own body.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I really appreciate you coming on here and telling your story, Paula, and I'm sure the viewers will enjoy it. And it's you're a brave lady, and I appreciate what you've done.
Thank you for having me.
That's another episode of The Mark Taylor Show. Please join in next week. Thank you.